Good morning, everyone. It's been a while since I've posted anything online. It's been kind of a hard time for me. And I wanted to read you something that I wrote recently. I don't know if I'll get through it or not, but I'll give it a shot. Um, I wanted to let you know that my sweet dog Jasper has passed away. He was born right around March 3rd in 2003. He passed away on February the 20th of this year, 2019. So he was just a few weeks shy of being 16 years old, which is kind of old for a dog. It was a Beagle Jack Russell mix. And so anyway, I wrote this, and hopefully I can get through it without blubbering like an idiot, but here we go. I wrote it on the day that he passed. It is with a heavy heart that I write this. My sweet Jasper has made his way across the Rainbow Bridge, where he is once again happy, healthy, pain-free, and with people and friends who love him. I decided I wanted to share the story of this wonderful dog with you. He's been my faithful and loyal companion for many years, and he deserves to be remembered. My husband Chip and I were living in a mobile home on 3 acres in rural northwest Arkansas. We lived across the lane from the community building where we all came together for church. Folks often brought their dogs. It was a rural area, so most dogs didn't even know what a fence was, let alone a leash. We had dogs, of course. We'd brought them with us from California. Sweetie, Sashi, and Little Darlin. Sweetie had just passed away, and I was not interested in another dog. We had a doggy door so the dogs could come and go as they pleased. One day I mentioned to my husband that the dry dog food that we left out seemed to be disappearing at a more rapid rate than usual. Wow, those dogs must really be hungry, he said. One day after church, I was sitting in the living room when I heard the doggy door open. In walked Jasper, who belonged to and lived with some neighbors who lived up the hill. He headed straight for the dry food and started to eat. Mystery solved. Jasper started hanging around our house. The neighbors would come and get him and take him home and tie him up, and he'd get loose and he'd come back to us. He wasn't allowed in their house. Well, one snowy morning I looked out my back door, and we had an igloo, a dog igloo out on the back porch, which my dogs never used because they slept with us. And there was Jasper in this igloo out in the cold. Finally, the neighbor said, we're going to have to get rid of this dog. He won't stay home. And I said, well, he seems to like it here. We'll take him. So we did. First thing I did was I went down and I got his shots, and I got him neutered, and I had him microchipped and all of that stuff. Anyway, that's how Jasper came to be a part of our family. He was about 2 years old at the time. As I say, he was a Beagle Jack Russell mix, full of energy and adventure, and there was no keeping him in. We had other small dogs, and we had a fence, but the fence didn't mean anything to Jasper. He either went under it or over it, and he just went on about his business, because that's what he liked to do. Anyway, Sashi passed away, Little Darlin passed away. Jasper's sister Dorothy came to be with us. But Chip got cancer, and we moved back to California. And Jasper and Dorothy both suffered from car sickness. Anytime we had to go to the vet or go into town, they'd start irping before we ever got out of the driveway. And I remember thinking, oh great, 3,000-mile trip with an irping dog in the car. I can hardly wait. But he didn't. Neither he nor neither Dorothy nor Jasper threw up even once on that whole trip. Go figure. Anyway, I brought Jasper with me. Chip followed later with Dorothy. And Jasper and Dorothy both learned how to be yard and leash dogs. They caught on pretty quickly. Didn't seem to miss their free-roaming ways, at least not much. He did love his walks. There could be the most beautiful scenery on the planet, and he wouldn't notice so long as there was something wonderful on the ground for him to smell. And of course he had to leave his calling card at every second bush that we came to. So going for a walk usually turned into more of a saunter and let's just see what there is to smell along here, not, oh boy, let's go flat out. We moved from Tulare to Visalia and lived fairly close to a large field. I could walk the dogs down to the field and remove their leashes once we got there. But both of them just loved that. And they could run and run and run, and they did. And if the creek was running, Jasper would jump in and go for a swim, usually drinking the water as he went. Sadly, Jasper's sister Dorothy got sick with myasthenia gravis and megaesophagus, and she passed away from aspiration pneumonia. Jasper was alone, dog-wise, for the first time. He was bonded more closely with Chip than he was with me, so he was kind of at loose ends after Chip passed away. Valentino came to join us. He was a little Chihuahua dog, little puppy. But he was nervous, and when I decided to move to Mexico, I knew that he wouldn't travel well, so I rehomed him with a good family. I moved to Mexico with an elderly woman, Doris, and her little dog, Tiger, and lived there for 6 months. Jasper did not like Mexico. He was a lover, not a fighter. And the Mexican street dogs could be vicious. He was always on his guard whenever we went walking, and I think he was glad to get back to the States. We moved to Cambria. He liked it there. Cambria is a bit of a tourist town. I think he could always tell when somebody needed a doggy fix, because some people he'd just walk right past, and others he would go up to and put his head on their knee and look up at them with those sweet, soulful beagle eyes, and then always say, "Oh, I miss my own dog so much." It was like he could tell. He could tell. I always thought that with some training he would have been a good therapy dog, but we just never quite did that. Anyway, from Cambria we moved back to Tulare and then to Visalia. Jasper made doggy friends wherever he went. He was a friendly, good-natured, mellow dog, and he never had problems with other dogs. He wasn't too fond of cats, though. He thought they were placed on this earth for him to chase. I don't know what he would have done if he had caught one, but we never found out, which is probably a good thing. Well, 3 years ago, we moved to Carpinteria. He was still in pretty good health. We'd go for long walks down to the beach, and sometimes I'd take him to the Rincon where he could be off-leash, and he could still run like the wind when he wanted to. There's nothing more satisfying than seeing him run down the beach with his ears flying, just enjoying life. But time marches on, and he got a little slower. He aged. Our walks got shorter. He was still friendly with people and other dogs, but he spent more time sleeping, less time playing. Sometimes he would stand in the middle of the room and just look at me. For no reason that I ever figured out. He would just stand there and look. It's like, my God, dog, what do you want? I cannot read your mind. Please, tell me what you want. But, he wasn't hungry. He didn't need to go out. He just looked. I never did figure out what he wanted. I never did. I guess he just wanted to look at me. There we are. But when he started to deteriorate, he went down pretty rapidly. That was a holiday weekend, of course. His neurological functions began to fail. He started leaning, falling over when he walked. He started dragging his right paw backward. I tried to help alleviate his pain, but nothing really helped. He was suffering, and he didn't deserve to suffer. So I had to make the decision to let him go. Wasn't easy. Never is. But I know that was best for him. So the local vet came over, and I should say here that Jasper wasn't real fond of going to the vet's office. He didn't mind the vet himself. He just didn't like the office. So I didn't want the deed done at the office. That wouldn't have been fair to make his last moments full of angst, and it just wouldn't have been right. So the vet came over after work and did the deed. It's comforting to know that the last things he heard was me telling him how much I loved him and what a good dog he was and had always been. For 14 years he'd been with me through joy and sorrow and death and moves, and just been a constant and loyal companion. And I'm really gonna miss him. And this isn't on what I wrote, but it is something that I wrote later on Facebook, and I'm gonna say it again here because I think it's important. And the thing is I don't know if I've done the same thing, and if I did, I apologize. But it has been one of the hardest things when you tell someone that your dog has died. When one of the first things out of their mouth is, "Are you going to get another dog?" Like he was a piece of broken pottery that I could just walk down to the thrift store and buy another. As if he wasn't his own individual person who was loved for the unique, special, God's creature that he was. I had someone actually use the word replace. Are you going to replace him? No. There is no replacing. He was irreplaceable. So for the love of God, don't ask somebody that. I don't think I realized how painful that is when the first thing somebody says is, "Are you going to get another dog?" Like Jasper didn't matter. Like those 14 years we spent together were just so much yesterday's news. And I could just go out and get another one, and why not? And, I mean, I understand people are not trying to be mean. It's not done with malice. It's because they love me. I understand all that. But it's a kick in the gut. It's a kick in the gut whenever I hear that. So don't ask me if I'm going to get another dog, because the truth is, I don't know. It's early. It's way too early to even think about. If God wants me to have another dog or a cat or a bird or a mouse or a wombat or whatever, he's going to have to place it on my doorstep. Because I don't know. I really don't. I know that if I did get another dog, it wouldn't be a puppy. I'm not home enough to train a puppy. I don't have the energy anymore for a puppy. An old senior dog would be just fine, I guess. Maybe a cat. I don't know. I don't know what I want. If I want anything, I might not. All I know is it's really too early to even think about Anyway, I have wasted 15 minutes of your time this morning, so I apologize for that if you've managed to make it this far. But I wanted to let you know that my Jasper may be gone physically, but he'll be in my heart forever. Have a good day, everyone. God loves you. And he loves my Jasper, too. Bye-bye.